This is Dr. Carey Yazeed, and you're listening to Beauty, Brains, and Business, a weekly show for female entrepreneurs who are looking to build, grow, and leverage their business. Grab your notebook and get ready as I'll be sharing some great business tips with my phenomenal guests, all while keeping it real when it comes to entrepreneurship. Welcome back to another episode of Beauty, Brains, and Business. I hope that everyone is gearing up for a great weekend, and I hope that your midweek is going pretty good for you so far. I have a treat in store for you guys today as far as our guest, great friend of mine from way back when, Mia Lamotte, who's an image consultant and personal brand strategist. She's going to be in the studio today, and we are going to be talking about what your image says about you and what you want out of life. Guess what? Your personal image, it says a whole lot about if you are confident, if you are not. So you could be wearing the wrong colors, you could be wearing the wrong fit, and you could be sending the wrong message. So Mia is going to be in the studio today giving us some tips on how we can actually present as being a more confident female entrepreneur. But before we get started, girlfriend, why haven't you joined the Beauty, Brains, and Business Network? Oh my goodness, we have some great things that are taking place in the network. Like this past Monday, we did a business Q&A call. That was where members of the network got to submit business questions, and then I went live and actually answered those questions for them. See, the goal of the network is to make sure that you become a successful entrepreneur and that you remain a successful entrepreneur. And to remain a successful entrepreneur means that you need to leverage and grow. It means that you are not stagnant, sweetheart, that we got to be seeing some movement at all times. So if you have not checked out the Beauty, Brains, and Business Network, guess what? For the month of October, you can check out all of our resources and you can jump on our webinar with Mia on October the 15th for free. That's right. We have a 7-day free trial period. So all you have to do is head on over to thebeautybrainsandbusiness.com. There you can sign up for the free trial period, and after your 7-day trial period ends, you are only charged $12 a month. So let's go ahead and jump into today's show with my phenomenal guest, image consultant and personal brand strategist, Mia Lamotte. So welcome, Mia, to Beauty, Brains, and Business.
Thank you so much, Carey. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you.
Well, I am glad to have you. So I have done my introduction of you, but I want you to tell my listeners in your own words a little bit about you and what it is that you do.
Well, I work with professional women around their personal brand. And a lot of people believe that a brand is a logo. And while a logo is important and it's part of somebody's brand, it's not the whole thing. Your personal brand is your entire package. So it's going to include the way you look, the way you speak, how you communicate with people. It's also how you are online. But most of all, and most importantly, for me, it is your personal development, how aware you are of yourself. That's all part of your personal brand.
Okay. And, we don't hear about that a lot, like on social media, especially. You don't hear when, again, like you said, when I hear personal brand or personal branding, quote unquote, It is about like the logo and your colors and the message that you're sending. But rarely, I'm not going to say rarely, I've really never heard anyone speak about like your outfit, how you're pulled together, how you articulate your message. So how you're actually sounding, how you're communicating, that's all a part of your brand as well.
Right. Because, Carey, if let's just say we have this beautiful logo and the logo speaks to you being a brand that's very regal and quite expensive and luxurious. And, it gives you this illusion of grandeur. and then somebody meets you in person, or you get online and you start talking, and the way you look and the way you sound doesn't actually match that brand.
Mm.
So there's a disconnect, and people don't really trust people that they can't connect with, and you can't connect with somebody that has like an incongruent brand.
Okay. So that's kind of like those people who give you one image and it's really not, it's a false image. And then when you meet them, you're like, oh, wait, like I kind of imagined you totally different.
Absolutely. It's like saying you're Whole Foods, but you're more like a Trader Joe's in person, if
Yeah.
that makes
And they are totally different. I'm a Trader
sense.
Joe's kind of girl.
Yeah.
And I had to just leave Whole Foods. I got anxious in there, but I understand exactly what you're saying. That it's a different feel. And so if somebody's told me they were Whole Foods and I walk into you Trader Joe's, I'm just gonna say like, no, that's not what you are, and I'm gonna look at it like false advertisement.
Absolutely. It absolutely is. And I think that, people want to work with people who are more like them, or people that they aspire to be.
Mm-hmm.
So if Trader Joe's is your kind of store, you're definitely not going to want to work with somebody who's more like Whole Foods, because they might have a kind of brand that they're going to try to put on you, or they're going to be more in that realm instead of where you really want to be.
This is true. This is true. Now, let's talk a little bit about like the whole imaging, because you are actually a certified image consultant, correct?
Yes. So I'm a certified image consultant, and a lot of people will, and I'm also a certified transformational coach. And a lot of people will say that they're certified in a lot of image in a lot of industries. And what you want to do is do your research on what their certification is actually in.
This is true.
So a certification can come from a school, or it can come from a trade industry leader. So for me, as an image consultant, I am certified by my industry leader. It's an association that's independent. And so I can go to many different schools, but this one association is the association that's actually certifying members. There's a stringent test that we have to take. There's some criteria that we have to meet, and we have to work with a certain number of clients who give their feedback to them in order for us to become certified. So there's a lot of steps to becoming a certified image consultant under the industry leader that I'm working with.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's really important for people to look at where folks are getting their certification, because it's really easy to say you're certified and not actually be certified by an entity.
This is true, and I always tell my listeners, like you just said, make sure you do your homework, because we have a lot of false prophets out there on social media.
Absolutely. People believe that if they've done something once, that they can teach it to others.
Mm-hmm.
And while it can be true that, you can say, "Oh, you want to find out what I did to get to this point?" People can say that, but a lot of them don't. They just go out and say, "I can coach you in this," and they can't.
Yes, yes, this is true. This is true. But this hasn't always been your background, right, Mia?
No, it hasn't. I worked for the judicial branch of the government for the last 20 something years. And what I decided, Carrie, I was in my office one day, and I'd already been working in this industry for 10 years before I decided this. But I was in my office one day and I was like, oh my God, this cannot be all there is to life. This
Mm.
cannot be all there is to life. And so I really just started thinking about, okay, what would it be like if I owned my own business? What would it be like if I actually left this job and pursued this full time? And so about, I don't know, about 8 years ago, I went to see Tony Robbins. I don't know if you know who he is.
Mm-hmm.
Transformational guru, or not your guru. I went to one of his seminars, and he dared us to actually dream about what our dream lives would look like. So
Mm.
this was part of it for me. It only took me 8 years to get from that point to today. And I'm happy to say that, I've been doing this for over 2 years, well, almost 2 years full time. And there is no better personal development program on the planet than owning your own business.
Yay. And you know what? I appreciate that you said it took you 8 years
Yep.
because people, again, a lot of people think this happens overnight and that the transformation is you wake up one day like you did in your office and you say, you know what? There's got to be more to this. And then the next day, all of a sudden, you're doing the new thing. It doesn't work like that.
No, not at all. And even after I made my announcement to my boss, it still took us like 7 to 8 months, not to find my replacement, but for us to say, okay, well, you need to finish out this project before you leave. And then we made an announcement, and then there was somebody else who wanted the position. So the transition was not like really, really, it wasn't overnight.
Right. And you actually preparing to go into this new phase of your life, that took some time as well.
Absolutely. So I had to be trained in this industry that I am coaching people in, but also to up my own personal development. So I've worked with a coach for probably the last 5 years of my career.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's one of the things that we discount. It's super important to have somebody who is going to be able to guide you in a direction that you want to go in for your business. And it's really difficult to do this on your own. I know that you know this, and I know it's probably why you started your group. But it's really hard to be in business by yourself because it can be very isolating.
Yes, it really, really can. So you were actually in leadership, and so why personal branding? Why image consultant?
Well, like I said, I was in the judicial branch, so it was a government position. And what I found is that there are a lot of people who work in that industry who are kind of stuck there.
Mm-hmm.
And there's also a sense of entitlement of the job because a lot of people are grandfathered in and they do civil service positions, so it's really hard for them to be fired. But there was no requirement for how they showed up. So no
Mm.
requirement in the dress, no
Mm.
requirement in professionalism. I don't know if you've ever been to the DMV. We've all kind of
Girl.
experienced it, right?
Don't get me started on the DMV. Like I've had to say, do they work here or are they actually trying to get something done too?
Right. So, and I hate to rag on the DMV because I'm sure there are some people there who are excellent customer service providers and who show up to work and they look nice. But for the most part, I was seeing all of these people who were just kind of like stuck in this rut, and I had started out my career in the image industry when I was 18, I went to beauty school. And so I've always had a love for it, but I didn't know how I was going to make my way into the industry that was going to, honor who I am.
Mm-hmm.
And this was the answer to that.
Wow, wow, and you're right when we think about government because I mean I worked in social services for like over 20 years, and you're right. Like I used to see my coworkers, and I would just be like, okay, so what exactly was she thinking when she got dressed this morning? Like it didn't reflect like their level of expertise. Their dress didn't reflect like just how smart and brilliant I thought they were. Like it was just like a total opposite, and it would make me wonder like what's really going on with them or what's going on upstairs that they don't see how they are presenting themselves to the public today.
That's why the personal awareness is so important, Carrie. My colleagues don't even really talk about that. They talk about appearance, behavior, communication, and, how people show up online. But I've added this personal development piece because, how we feel about ourselves on the inside is how we show up to the world.
Mm-hmm. It
And
is. You are so right, and I don't think some people realize that.
yeah, they think that, oh, I'm covering it up by acting like I don't care or, putting this on or not putting on a certain thing. I think that people make the mistake that we don't see that and we do. When somebody really is taking care of themselves and you know that they took some effort to get dressed, it shows. And I don't know about you, but I'm immediately drawn to somebody like that as opposed to somebody who's kind of, ordinary, or somebody who really didn't give a hoot about what they put on. Not They weren't intentional. And I can
Mm.
actually tell those people when they show up.
Yes, yes, and you and I are very much alike in that sense. I didn't do beauty school, and I don't know where my fashion sense came from. I was the kid in high school who showed up like in business dress for school. Like I guess I was practicing. I'd have on my heels and my pencil skirt and a nice professional shirt. And one teacher just said, "Where exactly do you think you're going every day?" And I said, well, I'm coming to school, but in my mind, what I did tell her was like, girl, look, I got a whole hustle going on in this school, so I need to dress like the business person that I am. That's what my mom told me.
I
So
love it. I
so
love it.
I always, and so just from there, I've always been aware of how I present. My mom really stressed, like, look in a mirror before you go out. You, in your mind, you might think you look okay, but you need to do a once over in the mirror, make sure everything is in the right place. And if it is not, you need to go back in the closet and handle that. You don't just walk out into public looking any kind of way. And this was before the internet. So, we are pre-internet
Yeah,
people.
same here. And I am so surprised. I'm so glad that you mentioned the mirror. I am so surprised by the number of people who don't own full length mirrors. I was working with a couple of clients. I was like, where's your mirror? And they're like, I just use the one in the bathroom. I was like, you can't even see the bottom half of you. No wonder we're having a disconnect about how you show up in the world. So, a tip to all the listeners out there, go get a full length mirror. Check yourself out from every angle. It does matter because we get to see you from every angle.
Yes, we don't just see you from the waist up.
Exactly.
We
Exactly.
see the whole kit and caboodle, as I tell my kids. Like we see
Exactly.
everything.
Exactly.
So when working with your clients outside of the mirror, what are some struggles that you see female entrepreneurs struggling with when it comes to like their pulling together their personal brand?
Well, I think that the first thing that they need to do is get really clear about what their brand is.
Okay.
So, what's the product that they're selling or the service that they're selling? And does the way they show up match whatever that is?
Mm,
For example, if you're selling, let's just say you're selling transformational coaching in the spiritual realm, not religious, but more spiritual like.
mm-hmm.
Those people don't tend to wear business suits every day. So I would not put that kind of coach in a suit unless they were going to an event that warranted one, right?
Mm-hmm.
And even that suit is not going to be the same business suit that you or I might wear. It's
Okay.
going to be something a little more relaxed, something a little more flowy, something that's going to reflect their personality and what they're selling.
Mm-hmm. Now, when I took a look at your website, I was like, ooh, like I really liked it. And the reason that I'm not going to say like, I love your website.
Thank you.
And the reason that I like your website so much is because it has this clean, crisp look
Hmm.
with a pop of design that stands out, like your belt and your red shoes and your red lipstick. But other than that, everything was just real clean. And so it just, for me, it was just like refreshing. It really made me focus on you, the professional, the services that you offer. Like I didn't get distracted, and I have adult ADHD, so I'm all over the place. And so when I opened up your site, I was like, okay, like I'm not feeling like overstimulated. I really get her message, and her message goes with how she's presenting. It's very clear. Like you walk away from this like knowing exactly what Mia does, how Mia does. And by seeing you, it's just like, okay, I get it. I get it. But unfortunately I don't see a lot of clean, crisp websites in 2019, or the person presenting as clean and crisp. That is kind of, I get disorganized, not connected. You're telling me one thing, but you're looking a different way, and my eyes are all over the place.
Right. And I think that people aren't intentional about why they build websites. And let me tell you, I have had my struggles with this too. So this is like the fourth or fifth version of a website for me. So I
Mm-hmm.
made mistakes too. I did not always know how to present my material either because I trusted the experts that I was hiring, you
Right.
know, and I actually gave my power away to them too.
Oh.
Thought that they knew better about what I needed, or they gave me exactly what I asked for, and I didn't know what I needed to be asking for.
Oh.
Yeah, so that you want to be careful about the two things. And with this version of my website, you're right, that was my intention. I wanted it to be, I wanted to make sure I had the clean lines, but I also wanted something a little unexpected. And that's where, the belt and the shoes and the lipstick and that kind of stuff comes through because that's how I typically dress. That's how I typically show up. And I don't want people to go on my website and then meet me in person and they be like, wow, you really, like I don't even recognize you from the website.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen a lot of people like that. I work with a lot of people who are in this industry. And when I meet them in person, I'm like, wait a minute, are you the same person that was on the website? Because people will have pictures that are up that are over, 10, 15 years older. And
Mm.
their hair is different. They've lost weight or they've gained weight and they haven't updated their pictures. So
Mm-hmm.
it's super important. The other thing about a clean website is that if you can't get your message across with the words and the images, then there's something off about
Mm-hmm.
what you're doing. And you're right, people do get distracted. Like I want people to come to my website, know exactly what I do, but I also want them to want to work with me too. That's the
Right.
other reason that you have that website,
Right.
right? The first website that I built, was like, oh my God, I need to build a website. And as soon as it was built, I was like, I'm in business. And I thought that people were just going to find it on the web and show up and call me, but that's not how this really works.
No, it's definitely not how this works. That's just one piece of the building blocks that you need.
Exactly, exactly. And it's one piece that has to be congruent across all lines when you're talking about a brand. So you can't have somebody design your website and not know how you want to show up on social media. They can't not know who you are in person. So all of that stuff has to be thought about together. So when I work with my clients and we're developing a website for them, I'm on the call with the website developer. I'm on the
Mm.
call with them and the website developer to make sure that the website developer gets the message that we're trying to send.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And that's a really good point too, because it is a message that you want to convey
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
outside of the words. Like the whole just the lines, the aesthetic, that becomes a part of your personal brand as well.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. Your visual communication is what I call
Oh yes, girl. Yes. Preach. Preach,
it.
preach, and preach.
Yeah.
Yes. So let's talk about this, Mia. Like, so when you're actually preparing a client, let's say for their website, and
Mhm.
when you're looking at like, okay, they kind of told you what their vision is, you guys have just kind of ironed it out. How is the process of you helping them to select the wardrobe that they would actually take for the pictures that are going to be on their website?
Well, depending on how much work we've done together, most
Mm-hmm.
of them have gone through a color analysis. So I'm going to know what colors look best on them, but also I'm going to know what colors best represent their brand from a color psychology standpoint. And we will make sure those two match. So let's just say I'm working with somebody who is working in the financial field.
Okay.
And they need to have something that's very conservative. they're conservative, because I mean, there are a couple people in financial field that aren't conservative, but for the most part, if you're working with somebody's money, you need to look like money and
Mm,
be pretty conservative,
I
right?
like that you need to look like money. Thank you.
Yes, yes. I mean, I'm not going to trust somebody who doesn't look like money with my money.
This
I'm
is
not going to
true.
go. I'm not going to go to a trainer that's overweight.
Well, no, I'm not gonna do that either. I'm not doing an overweight trainer, and I'm definitely not gonna work with the person who doesn't look like they have their act together dealing with my money.
Absolutely, absolutely. So we'll look at those colors, and so let's just say we go with navy. Now, if navy is part of their brand color that we're going to use on the website, I need to make sure that whatever version of blue that we use on the website is also a version that's going to look good on them. Because what
Okay.
you don't want is when you do your branding photo shoot, you don't want to use colors that are going to conflict with your brand.
Okay.
And if you're wearing colors that complement your skin tone and you use those same colors on your website, you're going to always look good in your website, and every picture that you take for every event that you do, everything is going to match. It's all going to flow. So it's
Mm.
very strategic the way that we work around that. The other thing that I do when we're selecting the clothes is that I want to make sure that the style is it communicates the same message as the website, as the person, as the brand. So if your brand is, let's just say we're not going to do a conservative brand anymore. I have a client right now. She loves the Afrocentric look. She has a lot of stuff there's a Black Wall Street in Durham, North Carolina here, and a lot of her pictures are going to be taken on that street, and
Mm-hmm.
she wants to have these Afrocentric elements in all of her pictures, but she's an attorney.
Mm.
What we're doing is that we're taking those two elements and we're mixing them. So the lining in her jacket might have some African print elements. Her shoes may have an African American, an African print on it. Her earrings. So we're going to use it in subtle ways so she can still have the credibility of an attorney and use her African prints as she likes to.
Okay. Okay. So yeah. So bringing it together, but still keeping it classy.
Right. And also keeping it in line with who she is. Like, she's very Afrocentric and she wants that to be known.
Okay.
And but she also recognizes that in her industry, in order to be credible or in order to be considered credible by certain people, that she has to show up in a certain way. And I have mixed feelings about this, so I'm just going to go ahead and put that out there. There are some people who can show up in a way that is authentic to them, that doesn't go into, like, it's more of a rebellious kind of disruptive kind of place, and still be considered credible by certain people. But usually they're in business for themselves. They already have a proven track record, and people already trust them.
Okay. And so that sounds like that's also very important too. If you're kind of going to do some things that might not be the quote unquote norm,
Mhm.
that you personally and professionally need to have already established some credibility outside of your whole style.
Absolutely. I think about, when I talk about this, I think about Mark Zuckerberg. So he's known for wearing his hoodies and his jeans, right?
Mhm.
And a lot of people believe that, oh, well, he does it. He's the owner of, he's a billionaire. He owns Facebook and, yada, yada, yada. But the thing about it is that he knows when he needs to dress up. So when he had to go testify in front of Congress, he wore suits. He was not in his hoodie or in his jeans. So you also know, you have to know what's appropriate for the occasion.
Yes. So he did show up in, I think that was a navy blue suit with a tie.
Absolutely.
And
That's right.
I was
That's
like, oh, he cleans up nice. Like,
He does, doesn't he?
yeah, because all you're right. The pictures that I've seen of him has kind of been, with him kind of looking frumpy and looking like a tech person.
Yeah, and even Jay-Z, when Jay-Z, I think it was either when he turned 30 or when he turned 40, he decided that he was no longer going to wear jerseys. He's like, I'm a professional man, I'm at a certain age, and he stopped dressing like the typical, rapper at that point. And
Yes.
and I think it's important for us to know, like, if we're trying to go somewhere and, make a bigger impact, we're going to be able to do that when we can appeal to a bigger audience.
Yes, and all of that does go back to your personal brand and how you are presenting both online and offline.
Right. Absolutely.
Love
So,
it.
so to bring it back, we're going to look at the colors. We're going to make sure all that stuff is complementary to you. The style works for you, but the fit, like the kind of
Oh,
clothes,
girl. Thank
the
you.
cut. Like, I've seen so many people make so many mistakes about the way their clothes fit. They're either too big or they're too small. And when we do your class for your group, we're going to talk a lot about the psychology of fit and what clothes look better on what body types. But, for the sake of time today, as long as you're following the lines in your body, you should be okay. But you want to make sure that your clothes fit you well, not too big, not too small. I
That is like my pet peeve. And it is my pet peeve because I am petite. I'm
Mm-hmm.
very petite. And
Mm-hmm.
so my 9 times out of 10, I have to take my professional clothes to a tailor. There are no
Thank
ifs,
you.
ands, or buts. They are, if I buy them off the rack, they are not going to fit me the way that they should, even if it is a petite. All
Mhm.
petites don't fit equally. And so I have a tailor that I work with. We have a good relationship. But when I'll go in, one thing that I've also had to realize is that I need to try whatever it is that I need to have altered. I need to try it on versus just saying go with my measurements because designers, again, don't make all of their clothes equally. So just because it says a six petite doesn't mean that when I put it on my six petite frame, it's going to fit like a six petite.
Absolutely. And so here's another tip. Designers usually make clothes that will fit their body types.
Yes.
And most manufacturers will make clothes that are rectangle. And most of us are not shaped that way.
No, especially those of us who are African American, we have some bumps and some curves that are
Absolutely.
in different places. And
Hmm.
so clothes tend to hang differently.
Absolutely. And we all, and I don't know about you, but I have at, a lot of stages in my life, I struggle with staying the same weight. So I would have like three sizes in the closet. And the big thing is that making sure that whatever size I was, I had something in that size that actually fit me. Because the one thing that you don't want to do is wear something that's a size too small for you, because then you come across as like you're not aware of your body, and that can send people the wrong message.
Yes, you are absolutely right. And I just lost, as I've been telling my listeners, I just lost 30 pounds. And
Hmm.
so for me, that was drastic. So I went from a size 10, 12. And
Hmm.
again, I know some people are like that. That's not bad. Okay, when you're 5'2",
Right.
that is bad, okay? And so and so losing that weight, my sizes went down. So now I'm in a size 6. But I had held on to all of my size 8s, thinking that not my new weight that I was in a size 8. Till I
Hmm.
had to put on a dress and I said, well, wait a minute, the 8s are too big too.
Hmm.
So I had to pray I didn't throw all of my 6s away or give them away and go
Yeah.
find a right size because you could tell that the 8 was too big and I didn't have time to get to the tailor. So I'm very conscious of how it looks on me, especially because I'm smaller. That
Right.
when we put on something that's even one size too big, people can tell. It shows.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So,
And it
yes.
actually makes us look bigger. when we wear clothes that are too big for us.
Yes.
Yeah, and it makes us look sloppy because I don't know, guys, this is one of my pet peeves with the men. When the pants puddle at the bottom of their shoe.
Oh, that drives me insane
Me
because I
too.
am like, go to a tailor.
Yeah, it's like why and some ladies even walk on the back of their pant legs because they're wearing
No,
heels. Oh, it drives me bananas. So
no.
yeah, it is so, so important.
And actually, Mia, when you talk about that with guys, when a man has his pants tailored and they hit where they're supposed to hit,
Hmm.
his look is so different. Like I'm gonna tell guys this. It makes you more attractive. You appear to have more self-confidence. It makes you look taller because when they puddle, it makes you look like you just grabbed a pair of pants that you're short. It makes you look slouchy, unkept. Like I don't take a professional man serious if his pants are not altered.
Well, and the thing about it is, Carrie, is that our eyes are going directly to that puddle. Even if we don't realize it consciously, like as soon as I see somebody like that, it's either the puddle at the bottom of the floor or it's the puddle where the crotch is at their knee.
Yes.
Because the pants are too big for them in the crotch.
Yeah.
So it's super important. And the same thing happens to ladies. Like if the skirt is too tight or if the top is too tight, like I'm immediately looking at that spot that you probably don't want me to look at.
Right. And it's usually if it buttons, it looks like your button is about to pop out.
Yes. Yeah. So I tell my clients like buy your clothes to fit the biggest or the widest part of you and then have the rest tailored to fit you.
Thank you. Thank you. Ladies, gentlemen, because I have some guys that listen to invest in a great tailor.
Absolutely. Or, and if you once you can afford it, because I believe that, it doesn't have to cost a lot of money to have custom clothes or made to measure clothes, especially if you're hard to fit. Like the client that I was talking about, she's harder to fit. So we had a custom suit made for her. Those things are going to actually, over time, they're going to pay for themselves because the way you're going to look and the way that you're going to feel in them, it it's going to pay you back in spades.
You have never lied about that. There's just something about a custom made outfit that you're like, this is mine.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody else has this.
Nope. Nope. And then when you know what colors and what styles look better on you, like you can just go crazy. Like go get those things. If you look at certain celebrities, you might notice that some of them will wear the same cut all the time. They just change the fabric and the colors and the length. But for the most
Yes.
part, they'll wear the same thing.
You now that you mention that you're right, and I also notice like those who I really follow that if they stay within a certain color family that looks really good on them.
Yes, we're either warm or cool, or we could be like in the neutral zone. So if you know that colors like orange and like a bright red or a hot pink, like really warm colors that you would see um, that when you look at them, it says warm. If you know those look better on you, like stay in that family. If you know that the cool colors look better on you, stay in that family. And for me, I can do a bit of both, but neutrals with a pop of color is better for me. So that's what I do. And that's exactly what I did on my website. So that's what I teach my clients. Like, let's go in, let's figure out, are you cool? Are you warm? Are you somewhere in between? And then what colors look best on you? And let's design your whole brand around that idea.
I love it. I love it. So, Mia, where can my listeners, if they are interested in working with you, learning more about what it is that you do, where can they find out more information about you?
Oh my gosh, I am everywhere. Um, I will actually be in your hometown, our hometown, pretty soon, like in November. But if people want to reach out to me, they can. I am on Instagram at Mia Lamotte. That's Lamotte, image. That's my Instagram handle. And on Facebook, Mia Lamotte Image, and the same on the web. So my website is mialamotte.com.
Love it. And Mia will actually be conducting a webinar for the Beauty Brains and Business Network on October the 15th. So if you're not a member of the network, I need you to head on over to thebeautybrainsandbusiness.com and you need to sign up today so that you can get, like she just gave you guys the tip of the iceberg. She didn't even go deep today.
Did not.
I love it. Well, Mia, thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule. And we are looking forward to working with you even more on the 15th.
Absolutely. I'm excited about it.
Well, that wraps up another episode. Don't forget to check out the Beauty Brains and Business Network, our online virtual community for female entrepreneurs. Visit thebeautybrainsandbusiness.com to learn more and sign up today. Don't forget to keep sharing your favorite episodes of Beauty Brains and Business with your family and friends on social media and leaving great reviews on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and Spotify. As always, thank you for listening and have a fabulous week.